So for anyone who may be listening right now, what advice would you give to someone who feels they're either called to plant a church or called to be a head pastor of a church?
I would say if you feel a calling to be a head pastor of a church or plant a church, first of all, go submit that to your elders. Talk to the people who know you. Ultimately, if you go start a church, you want to be in partnership with the sending church. Like Paul and Barnabas came back to Antioch. It was like their home base. They would go out, do their work, and come back. Other than that, I would say get yourself involved in the ministry now. It's kind of like a guy that wants to be a missionary. He says, I feel called to go and be a missionary to China, but he never shares the gospel with a guy across the street. Well, what makes you think that all of a sudden, just because you're in China, you're going to be doing this great ministry if you're not doing it right here where you live?
Exactly.
And so I tell you, hey, start loving the people in your church. Ask the pastor about starting a home group. Start a home group. See what it's like to shepherd a group of people, to care for them, to help resolve conflict. Take a project in the church that you can lead and direct to show your strength in growing in administrative skills or delegation skills, things like that. Just ways to kind of prove yourself that I do have certain gifts and talents and abilities to actually lead a church. There's ways to kind of test the water, so to speak, and you can do it right there in your own church. It'll be a blessing to the church you're at, and it'll also help to be almost like a hands-on seminary. Because sometimes I think our seminaries, I'm not against seminaries, but sometimes we fill ourselves with head knowledge, but we don't really have the practical hands-on application that we really need. Most guys that come out of seminary, most of the things we learn in seminary, you never even deal with in a local church. You know what I mean? It's the real life hands-on things that you have to learn how to do.
And I'm with you because the education piece is important, but too much knowledge puffeth up.
Yeah.
Right. So how do I take what I'm learning and then apply it? You have to be faithful to where you are and what God has asked you to do right now in the season that you're in. Because you nailed it. Before you can go minister to a nation, what about your coworkers? What about your neighbors? Before you go serve a nation, are you serving the people who are in your sphere of influence?
Absolutely.
Right now. So
he who is faithful in much, or he who is faithful in the least will be faithful in much, the Bible says. And so take the little things you have, whatever they are, be faithful, and God will open the door for further things.